Hello, everyone. Um, Today, I want to discuss something that is very important. I think right now the world is changing completely, constantly, and there are always little signs, little um, events, moments that clearly show a switch. 2020, 5,780 years after since Adam Arishon was created, and times are changing big time now. Uh, with those little events, it really feels like everything is changing. And I think it's important. Well, we don't want to jump into conclusion, but we want to be aware of really what's happening, the shift that is happening, and get ready for what's to come. Uh, and I think right now, with the rise of anti-Semitism that is going to unfortunately spread, and with Israel expanding and the Jewish people becoming more and more numerous in outside the land of Israel, it's time to realize that we have been now in exile, meaning outside of the land of Israel, for much too long. Especially that now, since 1948, has been more than 100 years now. What I'm saying, it has been 70 years, and we're getting really, really close to a whole generation that could have gone to Eretz Israel. And the question is, since the doors have been open for 70 years, why we're not there? And it's very important to realize that the Jewish people have lost the love for the land of Israel. We are It's our obligation to fall in love with the land of Israel, to desire to be in Israel, to dream to be in Israel, to hope to go into Israel, to plan to go to Eretz Israel. So the land of Israel is what makes us Jewish, is where our strength is. And unless one that is clear in our head, then we have been completely exiled. And I would like to take a quote from Rabbi Yitzchak, not Tzvi Yehuda Kook, the son of Rav Kook, who says like that: a Jew who was born outside the land of Israel, who spent his whole life in the diaspora, which, like most of us, doesn't know any other reality. Becomes a creature. He readily becomes a creature of the foreign culture which surrounds him. He becomes estranged from his natural connection to Israel. His sense of a need for his own Jewish government, or Jewish army, or Jewish calendar, or land is obscured. The governments of America, England, South Africa take care of his needs. In the absence of Jewish nationhood, Gentile cultures and pastimes occupy a significant role in his daily existence. Thus, the redemption of Israel can become a secondary issue in his life. We have to understand that living in Israel has to be a priority into what we want to do in life, into our goals in life. Is it really part of your goals? It has to be part of your plans. Where you have to imagine where I'm going to be in the next 10 years. If you don't have the land of Israel in your next 10 years, there's a problem. No. So it's something that we need to realize. Our brain, our way of thinking is in exile, and we have to wake up. Otherwise, it's going to happen the same thing that happened in Egypt, where 4/5 of the Jewish people died in Egypt. It can be physical death, it can be spiritual death, whatever it is. It's not good. And we know that the Egyptian exile is a micro story of what's going to happen in the future. We know it's to teach you the lesson, the mistake not to make. So what are we making? What are we doing still in exile? So does the redemption of Israel can become okay? His life ceases to feel like an exile. I'm good here. I'm happy. I have Siyum Hashas, 90,000 Jews in one place doing Siyum Hashas. We're doing mitzvot. I have kosher restaurant, like more numerous than more mehadrin with all the hechsher I want. It's easier to be fully kosher here than in Israel. In Israel, you're not sure, which kashrut. Here, it's crazy how much good we have, so much liberty. You don't have as much. You're more accepted as a religious Jew here than outside the land of Israel. It's easier. They want you to. They help you almost. So his life ceased to feel like an exile, and because of his alienation from the deeper aspect of Torah, his existence in a Gentile land does not feel unpleasant to him or to his soul. You can't be outside of the land of Israel and feel, I'm good, I love vacation. No. Vacation is not the land of Israel. Vacation is here. But Israel is the root, is the source. So this is this is from Eretz Israel. But let's take, go through different things. Let's take different things, different quotes, different parts of Torah. First of all, the Chida, Rabbi Avraham Azulai, wrote in his very famous book, Chesed LaAvraham, that after a person breathes and absorbs the air of Eretz Israel, he's transformed. Once the day he comes on Eretz Israel and he breathes something, if he sleeps there, by the next morning in Israel, he has a new soul. He says, if a man is outside the land of Israel, he has a soul of lesser celestial forces. Meaning, when you're in Israel, your body, but your soul is empowered and is more powerful, more impact into the world, into the spiritual world and physical world. If he merits to enter the land of Israel, a soul from a newly created source comes to him. It's a different dimension. According to some opinion, the land of Israel is Gan Eden, is where the spiritual paradise is there, and it's hidden from our eyes, but it's there. It's the physical land of Israel hides the Gan Eden. We knew the door to Gan Eden is in Hebron, so that's the door. So we know it's there. The first night he sleeps in Eretz Israel, both souls depart from him and rise to worlds above, and in the morning only the new soul returns. So it's like a new thing. Okay, so that's a very powerful thing. You are spiritually and physically more powerful in Israel. You have a strong impact. The Vilna Gaon, the Gra, says so echoes this the idea by saying that a person isn't complete until he comes to the land of Israel. You want to be complete, perfect, closer to God. You want to grow. You want to, have Vekas B'Hashem. Then he on the verse Vayavo Yaakov Shalem Ir Shechem. So Vilna Gaon explains that Yaakov wasn't complete until he came to Eretz Israel. So you want to be complete, you have to come into Israel. Okay. Now, next thing is that I wanted to share. It says in the Zohar in Parashat Emor 93, Tzadik Gimel, it says that in Israel they are one nation and not outside of it. The Gra, the Vilna Gaon says that, no, actually it's not the Gra, it is I forgot. I think it's the Talmud or the Gra. I read it before. But basically, the idea, it says that once someone who is outside of Eretz Israel is like he has no God. He's like a non-Jew. It's like he's doing Avodah Zarah. It's like he is not able to do the mitzvot the right way. Here, it's a training to do the mitzvot for the land of Israel. So we understand that, obviously, we're not saying that we are not doing that, what we do here doesn't matter. But with the level, we understand there's a difference in spiritually of what we can accomplish outside. That the true self, you'll be only a true Jew, a complete Jew, be able to truly fulfill your full mission once you go into Eretz Israel. Now, another idea is here by the Ramban. The Ramban, Nachmanides, says like that one of the most outstanding two things goes hand in hand. Ramban says that the commandment to settle into the land of Israel is a positive commandment, right? So it's a commandment, one of the 613 commandments is to actually go live in Israel and build the land. It's the commandment number, does it say here? It doesn't say which number. I say number 4. No, actually, in the Sefer Mitzvot, it's number 4 of the Rambam, not the Ramban. But it says like that, we're commanded with the conquest of the land in every generation, says the Ramban. Okay? So check it out, Sefer Mitzvot. Okay. For the... So that's what I said before, according to the Netivot Israel, says like that, Netivot Israel and the Sifrei, Parashat Ekev, Rashi, and the Ramban says like that. For the genuine keeping of the Torah is only in Eretz Israel. In every other place, the commandments are imposed as a way of reminder, so that when we return to Israel, we will know how to keep them. Okay, so that's already shows you that. Yeah, the main thing is there. Here we're practicing all the commandments, but the full force of the commandments, the full impact, the commandments will be there. The Gemara says in Baba Basra 158b that the air of Israel makes one wise. It causes intelligence and wisdom. And the beginning of intelligence is to understand that existence among the Gentile nations is totally unpleasant. So, another part, in another Gemara in Shabbos 14b, it says, in outside of Israel, the air is impure, the land is impure. Even halachically, the diaspora is categorized as possessing a state of defilement similar to that of the grave. Obviously, for the Jewish people's mission, that's what doesn't mean that the rest is bad. God forbid that the rest. But for us, it's not where we can connect fully. So everybody has its own place of source of energy. A non-Jew, it's here. A Jew is there. It's the same non-Jew in Israel. Well, actually, that's different. It's a different type of connection. So, and here it concludes that it's a tragedy for those who fall in love with Galus. We fall, wow, America is amazing. You know, you have so many shopping malls. It's terrible to fall in love with outside. With Galus, because that's not the goal. The goal is to be in love, to be in love with your mission, be in love with a Jew, with being a Jewish. That's the problem. Jews are not in love with their mitzvah. They're not in love with their Yiddishkeit, with being Jewish. Do you love being Jewish? Do you love doing the mitzvah? Do you love being able to serve God? It doesn't look like, unfortunately. It's very few individuals, a minority. We don't feel that positive energy. When I look at the Jews walking the street, they're not necessarily smiling, they're not happy, they're not dancing all the time. Why? If you're close to God, you should be dancing all the time. If you're religious, you should be so happy that you're a Jew or religious and you can serve God. So where is that joy? So we need to foster the understanding and the feeling that we must live in Israel. That this is our normal place. In terms of religion, in terms of nationhood, in terms of everything. And this is the best way to inspire the rest of the world. The non-Jews don't want you. The non-Jews don't want you in that country. And they're right. We don't belong here. Go back to your country, they say. The only one that doesn't say don't go back to your country is the Muslims, the fanatic Muslims. The terrorists, because they don't want you to be in Israel. But all the other nations say, go back to your land. And they are right. We should be there. We have nothing to do here. We have little things now because of the exile, but now when the doors are open, there's no reason to be here. And if we don't do it ourselves, we're going to be reminded. And not in such a nice way. So we have to take the message, take the lesson. Not only that, in Israel, says the Kuzari, that's where we're going to have the highest level of prophecy. You want Ruach HaKodesh, you want prophecy, that's where you get it. But he says something very unique. He says, someone who is prophecy, the highest and clearest expression of our closeness to Hashem occurs either in Israel or in a situation of yearning for Israel. So if you yearn, you really truly desire to be in Israel, you all can still be connected to Hashem and have Ruach HaKodesh, you connect to Israel. One who, like the Gemara says in Ketuvot 75a, one who eagerly awaits to see her. Through his yearning to belong to Eretz Israel, he becomes a part of her and shares in her special gifts. So that's the only thing. Right now, at least you have to yearn strongly. If you're not there, you have to really, really, really want to be there. Now, the Rambam in the Laws of Kings says like that. In Laws, Hilchot Melachim, Rambam, Maimonides, chapter 5, Mishnah 9, Halacha 9. In all times, a Jew is forbidden to leave Eretz Israel for Chutz Laaretz, for going out of the land, except to study Torah or to marry or to rescue something from money, apparently Jewish money from the exile, something that needs to be fixed in terms of money, and then he must return to the land. One is also permitted to leave temporarily for business, but to dwell outside the land of Israel is forbidden. It's like we're doing an avera for being outside the land. So, unless there is a severe famine there. Okay, right now it's hard to live in Israel, but there's no famine there. So we all have the obligation to think about it and get ready to move. So I think this is enough explanation, enough understanding. We cannot get too comfortable here. And I want to add one thing that I think is very important with what we see a lot of videos about, the African American, they're attacking the Jews. I don't think it has nothing to do with African American. I believe that a lot of Jews work with African American. I believe one of the reasons there's a lot of problem here and why there's an aggression against the Jews now, it's spreading, because from my perspective, from what I've seen, when I see the religious Jews speak to non-Jews, I don't feel like they're treating them with respect. I feel from the religious community, especially if you identify as a Jew, you have a kippah or payas or black and white, whatever makes you look Jewish. If you look like that, you have to pay respect to the non-Jew and hold the door for him and show him that you love him and respect him and help him for whatever he needs. And I believe that because there was a lack of character traits from the religious community towards the non-Jews, especially with African American, because there's a lot of Jews who work with African American, who hire African American, or live close to African American, they felt disrespected and they felt no, I'm not justifying, going with a knife or that and killing, but it's connected to it. It's connected to it. It's the hatred, the anger, the feeling of I'm a lower than you. Too many Jews feel they're super higher. If you act like that, you're definitely not higher than a non-Jew. You're much lower than a non-Jew. A Jew is not higher than a non-Jew in terms of human beings. A Jew is higher only in the area of what his mission is. A non-Jew is higher than a Jew in the area where his mission is. So non-Jew, he can be higher than a Jew because the non-Jew is doing his 7 Noachide laws, and the Jew is not doing his 613 commandments. So nobody is better than anybody else. Thinking in terms of better already creates hatred. That's not. God loves everyone, but everyone has a specific mission, and everyone is unique. A non-Jew is unique. A Jew is unique. The non-Jew has to respect the Jew for his uniqueness, and the Jew has to respect the non-Jew for his uniqueness. And unless we do that, it's the end. And who has to start? The Jew, especially the religious Jew. The religious Jew is the one who has to start to respect the world and act like a mensch, act with holiness, act with love, act with respect, act with dignity. And if he does that, then maybe he'll get the merit that the non-Jewish people are going to want to learn from them, from God, from the Bible, from the book, from the wisdom that the Jews have. that's where we are at. And I believe we're paying now for our lack of character trait, our lack of respect towards the non-Jews, the lack of gratitude that we are in a free country. Um, we are paying. We're paying for it. So it's time to change, to be extremely nice with every non-Jew, especially if you look like a Jew. You have to change your ways. You have to pay respect, total respect for every human being, and um, and love the land of Israel and desire to be in the land of Israel. You don't belong here. Sorry, Jew. Time to go back home. So may we all be able to do that, and Bezat Hashem, if we do that, then the end of the exile won't be too terrific, and will, too terrible, and we'll be able to be happy, live with dignity and honor into our country, not among bloodshed. So may we all be able to achieve that level, and may God protect us and help us do what we're supposed to do to be a light unto the nation. Baruch Adonai Leolam, Amen, Amen. Have an awesome day.